Hey everybody, welcome to Slash Bash, where today I am bringing you another Choosing Beggar Reddit video. If you are new to the channel, then subscribe and click on notifications so you don't miss out on the fun. In our first story, we have a choosing beggar who cannot recognize wood. Perhaps she hasn't seen a tree before? Let's jump right in. So I worked at a music store a while back as a sales lead guy. A while back, we had one of the most hilarious situations with an irate customer demanding an extreme percentage off a tambourine. The lady approaches my desk and the story begins. "Good afternoon, ma'am. How may I help you today?" "Yeah, how much is this?" "Let me check. It rings up at $49. I want a discount on this." "Well, we do offer price matching, so I would be more than happy to look really quick to see if I can find it at a better price." "No, I want a price discount on that one because it's defective." "Oh, my apologies. I didn't happen to catch the defect in the product. I look over the entire tambourine and I cannot find a single problem." "I'm sorry, ma'am. I seem to be missing what your keen eye has caught. What was it that you found that was defective about this tambourine?" "This!" Choosing Beggar proceeds to point in the middle of the wood of this tambourine at what apparently is absolutely a perfectly fine surface. "I'm sorry, ma'am, I don't seem to see what it is that you are pointing at. Everything that I can see there looks completely fine. Could you perhaps give me a little more detail as to what it is you are looking at?" The customer gets irate and slams the tambourine on the table and points and goes, "It's right there, darn it! Open your eyes and look at it!" "Ma'am, that tone of voice is unnecessary. I am here to help you and I am doing the best I can. I genuinely do not see what it is that you are pointing at. If you would care to verbally explain that using your words, then I can help you." The choosing beggar continues to erratically point aggressively, tapping the tambourine at the spot that is so-called defective, and I finally say, "Listen, ma'am, I'm going to need you to actually verbalize what it is that you see that is defective, because I see a beautiful piece of wood that is free from any kind of blemishes at all. The surface is smooth and undented." "Right there! Don't you see that?" "The brown streak?" "Yes!" "Ma'am, that is not a defect. This is a wood grain and it is naturally occurring in all wood." "Well, it's ugly and I'm not paying full price for this. You can discount it 75% and I'll consider buying it." "Ma'am, if the wood grain that naturally occurs in a piece of wood is ugly to you, might I suggest a different model tambourine that does not contain it? We have many tambourines here and some of them are made of plastic." "Hell no, I don't like the sound of plastic ones. They sound like hell. I want this one." "Well, ma'am, there's nothing that I can do for you except try to find the best price online and then match that price. This product is completely free of defect, and a wood grain, despite how ugly you might think it is, does not constitute a defect in any way, shape, size, or form, and therefore I cannot give you a price break on this product." "But I need this for church on Sunday." "Again, I am not going to be able to give you a discount on this product because there is no defect." The woman then proceeds to throw the tambourine on the table and scuffs off something about me on her way out the door. The fun things that happen when you live in the Bible Belt. In story number 2, we have a choosing beggar who is not happy with the free book she has been collecting. Today, I encountered my very first choosing beggar in the wild. Here's the backstory, and it is relevant. I love reading. I subscribe to 5 different book clubs, meaning every month I get at least 5 new books in the mail, and I typically buy another 4 to 5 books per month. That means my shelves are always full, and whenever someone, friend, family, friend of a friend, etc., wants a book, I'm happy to lend, or if I've read it and don't plan on keeping it to read again, I just give them the book. A few months ago, a lady rang the doorbell. She said she was a teacher at a local public school and she was going door to door to see if people could donate some books to their library. This is the Brazilian countryside and public schools are very underfunded. I said, of course, browsed my shelves, picked a dozen books appropriate for kids or teenagers, and gave it to her. She thanked me and I said she could stop by anytime. If I had something, I'd be happy to donate. She proceeded to stop by every month. I always had something to donate, so she never left empty-handed. Last month when she came, I was in the middle of an audio conference for work, so I just told her to come in and asked her to wait a bit. Finished my call and went into the living room where I had a little pile of books waiting for her. She was standing in there browsing the shelves. I put the books in a bag and gave it to her. She thanked me and left. So far, so good. On to the Choosing Beggar episode. Yesterday, a friend called me and said there was this book market happening at a local mall. It was a free event organized by a couple of volunteers, and essentially, if you had any books to donate, you could just drop by and donate. If you wanted any books, you could browse and take what you wanted. And no need to donate a book to take one. I thought it'd be a nice opportunity to free some shelf space and contribute to the community. So I went and did a full inspection of my bookshelves to separate everything I could donate. At the end of my inspection, I had over 60 books to donate, including a full Harry Potter set I had forgotten about and ended up hidden behind a row of other books. This morning, we went to the market. There were books everywhere and people browsing around and just one poor volunteer trying to keep the piles of books organized, answer questions, provide recommendations, receive new donations, etc. My friend and I had the morning off, so we offered to help. I was just finishing organizing a section of books and adding the ones I had taken to the market to the collection when a guy approached with his son. His son got super excited about the Harry Potter set. He approached me and asked me how much it was. I told him it was free and he could just take it. He thanked me and turned around to leave. That's when I saw the teacher, that same lady I had been donating books to, was standing right behind him. I didn't even have the time to say hello, and she exploded in full Choosing Beggar mode. She started yelling at me, asking why didn't I save those books for her students, that she was in my house and she didn't even see that set, that I knew she taught teenagers, so I should have been considerate of her students, and blah blah blah. I couldn't believe what I was hearing. I had been giving this lady books for months. Faced with my silence, she went, "Well, what are you going to do about it? Now you need to get a new set so I can have it for my students." Still unable to believe what was happening, my brain came up with 3 explanations. She was drunk, she was high, that was actually her evil twin sister. And the obvious conclusion was, this isn't a conversation worth having. So I just turned my back to her and continued organizing the books in my section of the market. Choosing Beggar tapped me on the shoulder and yelled, "Did you hear me?" To which I replied, "I did. That set has already been taken. Look around. If you find something you like, you're welcome to take it. If not, just leave." And that's when she demanded to speak with the manager. And not only that, but every time I or any of the other 2 volunteers tried to open our mouths to explain, "There is no manager," she would interrupt us and bark, "Manager, now!" Finally, a mom with 2 little kids got fed up and called mall security, and a security guard removed her from the premises. Now here I am waiting for her to knock at my door again. I do have something set aside for her. It is a book called The Little Book of Gratitude by Robert A. Emmons. In today's final story, we see that sometimes there is no helping a choosing beggar. So I work pretty tough hours and travel a lot for work, and I find it necessary to have another adult in the house to help out when I am off traveling for work. The cat likes company and does need to be fed when I am not around. Sometimes I'm gone for one night, sometimes for a week and a half. When I moved into a house a few years back, my roommate at the time decided to move to Denver, so I find myself without a live-in pet sitter. I made a mistake and turned to Craigslist for help. Found someone and it was a frigging disaster. It turned out that she was bat stuff crazy, and I ultimately paid her to move out after a few months, which got her out fast but was not cheap. But I felt bad about it because she was a single mom who lost custody of her kid, red flag, couldn't keep down a job, red flag, and was most likely bipolar, major red flags. I didn't discover these red flags until after she moved in and effectively gave her the boot. Once one of her manic phases caused her to go so far off the deep end, I was concerned about my safety. I also probably ignored the hints of these red flags because she is not an unattractive woman, and you don't detect the crazy in her unless you spend a lot of time with her. So even after I paid her to move out, I sort of helped her out every so often with money for gas, money to stay current on her storage unit, etc. Every so often I'd PayPal her some money when she needed it, and thankfully have not seen her in person since she moved out and I changed the locks. This has been going on sporadically for the last 2 years, but for the most part I only gave her a little bit of money at a time. But it added up when you look at how much she has gotten from me over that entire time frame. Now, lo and behold, she reaches out this past week and tells me she needs $499 for unpaid storage fees for all her possessions, including furniture, or everything will get auctioned off in about 2 weeks. She is behind on her car loan and hints she needs more for that, and is living in some hotel near the beach for $50 a night, which still costs a hell of a lot more than a room in a house. And yes, she is not working. She does tarot readings on YouTube for money to pay for that hotel. I've consistently told her she cannot afford to be living in hotels, cannot afford the cost of storage, and needs to get a real job. Tarot reading does not count. She has ignored my advice for months, and now it seems her financial situation has spiraled out of control. And this time, I have refused to give her a penny, whereas in the past she might have gotten something. Instead, she got a lecture from me and a reminder that I told her to stop wasting money on storage units and stop staying in hotels she cannot afford. And what is annoying as heck is she seems to think it is perfectly appropriate to bother me, a person who is not related to her, never dated her, never fathered her child, and isn't sleeping with her to pay her bills. And when she gets a lecture from me instead of money, she tells me, I am a mom that deserves a home, not some butthole ex that was effed over and I can't move forward. I am not selling my things and buying everything again, which I cannot afford. I need help, not a lecture. If you cannot help, say that. Since that last exchange, I've been completely ignoring her. So my question of the day is just how hot must this woman be for our OP to be giving her money after having to throw her out of the house for fear of his physical safety? This has been John from /bash. Thanks for watching. If you've enjoyed the video and want to see more of them, then hit that subscribe button. We'd love for you to drop a like, share it with your friends, and we will see you in the next one.